Ah, yes. Okay. So this is one I want to watch this because last week we watched do what? Eh? What do you mean? Huh? So last week on stream we watched a video by a guy who was testing oh I was just saying when I got back I was just asking did everybody behave themselves. So last week we watched a video here on stream about a guy from Demolition Ranch who was testing the high point pistol and possessing some of the worst firearm handling skills I have ever seen in my life. Firearm safety, I should say. So there is another guy that another YouTuber that I watch called Kentucky Ballistics, guy by the name of Scott. And this guy, I love this guy. He's really funny, but he really does some really awesome like firearms tests to see is it good? Can it do this? Can it do that? And he's very knowledgeable. But he also does things in a nice, safe manner. So he has respect for the weapons he uses. And so I had said something about, how yes, the watermelon guy. Yes, exactly right. So I found that he did a video about the high point. And so I wanted to watch that video to see what because I saw what this guy on Demolition Ranch thought of it. And I was, of course, not a fan of his safety. But Scott is much safer, and I trust Scott's opinion to be much better informed and thoughtful than what this other guy we watched did, because he just basically did some stupid stuff and also seemed to ignore the guy from Demolition Ranch also really ignored some very serious problems we saw during his test firing. He just seemed to completely ignore them and just say, hey, yeah, this is a good gun. When we saw on stream some significant weapon failures that had my mouth dropping open. And I couldn't believe that he wasn't, talking about it. So I don't know if this is the exact same firearm because the one that the other guy was using may have been a 9mm, and this looks like it's a 10mm, but it's the same company. So I'm very curious how Scott will like this weapon, which it's a very cheap firearm. So that's kind of the singular attractive point to it. So I'm really curious to see how Scott's gonna like it. So let's check this out. Ready? Let me position myself here. Hang on. Let me get myself positioned. So I'm not blocking too much of Scott. Harry, I'll put myself right there. That should be good, I think. All right. And 3, 2, 1. Boy, does he look a little bit younger. Although I think it's only a year ago. Oh, he's ashamed. He's ashamed.
High point? No, that's not even my backpack. Yeah, whatever. No, not mine. You can't hide it, Scott.
If I'm not mistaken, I think at High Point you can probably pick one of them up for like $80 in the United States. They are an incredibly cheap gun.
What's up, everybody? My name is Scott, and you're watching Kentucky Ballistics. We're back on the range, and today we're going to have some fun with my new 10mm. Let's go check this thing out and get started. So the 10 mil that I have to show you today is not one that you would probably expect to see on the channel. This is my new Point JXP 10 millimeter.
That is a,
This is my new
hang on,
Point JXP.
that is a very ugly gun. I will say that is just a very ugly gun, just from looks alone. It's very top heavy right here, and just looks like it might be uncomfortable.
XP 10 millimeter. When you think of 10 millimeter, you probably think of Glock, Smith & Wesson, Kimber. You're definitely not thinking of High Point, because up until now, the biggest caliber they offered in a handgun is 45 ACP. But now they have a version in 10 millimeter. I know.
Okay, so maybe the version I saw on Demolition Ranch was a 45, because it was a single stack magazine. It wasn't a, why is the gun built like that? If I were to hazard a guess, it's cheaper. They don't have to they don't have to machine the receiver as finely as they would with, say, your Glocks or your Kimbers or your Smith & Wessons or your Berettas. They don't have to. They can stamp these out probably much faster with it looking like this. Now, as far as this little piece on the end, maybe it was just cheaper to stick this barrel into this gun that extends out past the receiver. That would be my guess. I mean, in the end, High Point, like, the way they designed the gun was probably with cheap in mind, is my guess.
Everyone jokes around about High Points and they kind of catch a bad rep, but I'm not one to discriminate when it comes to 10 millimeter, because 10 millimeter is the best millimeter. I'm really excited to see how this thing performs. Let's start out with some steel targets. The rounds I'm going to be using are Underwood ammo, 180 grain jacketed hollow points.
Okay, it's also a single stack.
I'm hitting a little high. Well, not a single jam.
Okay. Now, interestingly enough, so he's having good success with the weapon. The one we watched on the video last week, every, I'll say 10 shots or so, this slide was mid volley of like a full magazine. The slide was locking back for a second before snapping back forward, which is what I consider a failure for a weapon. Now, it's possible he may have been shooting a different model. The one we saw last week, he could have been shooting the 45 model, or perhaps even smaller caliber model. So it is possible it's a different model. But the one we saw, we were seeing multiple failures of the slide locking back for a second during shooting before the magazine was empty. It wasn't jamming, so it wasn't going back and then misaligning around as it was, and as it was putting it into the breech. The slide was locking back like the magazine was empty for a second and then snapping back forward. So I'm curious to see if this is a common problem. I just watched the video last week. Right now I'm trying to stream Monday through Thursday. Sometimes I'll try and stream on Friday as well, but I'm streaming like almost every day during the week itself around this time. So we watched this video, I think it was last Thursday we saw it. And actually, Kaboom, if you wanted to see it, I do have a YouTube channel. The links are in the channel's description here. I did put that video up on my YouTube channel if you wanted to go watch that to see what I'm talking about, because I put the entirety of the video that we watched and reacted to up on my YouTube channel, so you can see it there.
Cut the camera. This is really getting annoying.
Oh, Scott.
Oh, what a loser!
Yay!
Finally! So it totally wasn't me or my shooting ability. It was the high point. Am I right? Now how about a bag dump? One more.
And this is where we were seeing the failure on the last one. That's okay. Kaboom! When it comes to when you can get here, I'm thrilled when anybody wants to come here. I'm not gonna, ironically enough with this video, I'm not gonna hold a gun to your head and say you have to be here every single day. The only thing I ask for anybody that wants to join us is if you want to join me, I'll be thrilled to have you. However often that is. If you can join me every time I stream, that's wonderful. If you're only able to be here 1 or 2 times a week, that's still wonderful. Everybody's got their own lives. I'm, just some anime cat girl talking on stream. Who's happy to have anybody that wants to stop by and chat with me. So anytime you can make it, I'll be thrilled to have you. So what was happening on the one last week, and if you watch the YouTube video, see, in mid-magazine, he'd shoot and the slide would stay back for a second. It would lock back for a second and then snap back forward. It would not cycle through properly like you're seeing here. It would stay locked back like that for a second and then snap forward.
Okay. I'm kind of impressed.
Oh, he killed the predator.
Oh, totally redeemed myself. So like I said, the biggest caliber that High Point offered prior to the JXP was 45 ACP. So now we're going to do a little experiment. 45 ACP versus 10 millimeter. So I have one 16-inch block of 10% clear ballistic gel. This was sent to us by Clear Ballistics. A big thank you to them for sending it over to us for today's test. First up is 45 ACP, and I have some Underwood ammo, 200.
And by the way, Kaboom, when I was talking about that I've got the video of the other guy on YouTube, we actually watched that video in response to a Scott video we had watched just before that, where he was testing out, can you still fire a weapon, rifle in this case, with a barrel obstruction? We got to see him go through a bunch of tests, and he did so very safely. He had the weapon on a mount, and he had a string running some yards back, where he was hiding behind his truck on the engine block, and remotely firing the weapon so that if it exploded, he obviously was not holding it. Whereas the video we watched after with Demolition Ranch, he was doing the same kind of serious torture testing, and he was just holding the weapon and just acting very unsafely. And that's kind of where I was having an issue, amongst other things, with the way he was acting.
130 grain jacketed hollow points. Let's get low. Oh!
Ooh, it bounced back in the end. Interesting.
Let's check that out. We hit right here, and we almost made it through the entire 16-inch block. And I'd say that's a pretty good wound channel. Before I take that out of there, let's hit it with the 10 millimeter. I'm going to be loaded up with some Underwood ammo, 200 grain jacketed hollow points. All right, let's get low. Ow!
Did that come out? Hang on.
That 10 mil about. Ow!
Oh, it went through, and that was a piece of the silicone.
That 10 mil about knocked me over. So it looks like the 45 ACP
Great. I try to post on there as often as I can. Usually it's I will, after I stream, I'll usually spend a day cutting up the content to try and get it on YouTube. So, you know, something news up there pretty often.
He stopped in the 16-inch block, but the 10 millimeter went through the entire 16-inch block. And it looks like it made a bigger wound channel as well.
Interesting.
Ah, nice. Check that out. That mellow yellow sure is sweet. But you know what's even sweeter? Subscribing to Kentucky Ballistics. Now let's see which caliber is better at penetrating a truck. 45 is first. Hit. Made it to this side of the truck bed. Looks like, there it is right there.
Yeah. Well, that will ruin your day.
There's the 45. The 45 stopped and did not make it through the other side of the truck bed. All right.
Okay.
Now, the 10 mil. Went through this side of the truck.
Yeah?
Flew through this side, but it did not make it through the other side of the truck bed. I can see the bullet right over.
And that's when I'm not feeling like watching boarding beat tours. Yeah. I believe it. Kaboom? Like I said, it's. I may criticize anybody for wanting to watch, someone else that might be streaming at the same time as me. And I know that there's a lot of VTubers out there right now. And I'm only just starting. I've only been streaming, I think I'm into my third week of streaming right now. So I know there's a lot of choices, and that's why I'm happy to have anybody come join my stream whenever they wish to. And that's all I want. I'm just looking to have people come to the channel that I can talk about interesting stuff with and have interesting conversations with and have some fun. And if you can make it one day out of the week, oh great. If you can make it more, even better. If you can't make it, I understand too. Everybody's got lives. Everybody's got all kinds of stuff, and everybody's got, kind of like the whole thing with the streaming services. When you've got so many to choose from, you can only divide so much time between all of your choices. So I'm glad I'm so happy that you chose to come and spend time with me, and hopefully I'll continue to keep entertaining you. I mean, that's why I'm here, trying to just have a good time and try and get other people to have a good time. And that's kind of why I want to react to the videos, because some of this stuff is real interesting and fun to watch, and can be pretty interesting sometimes. We've seen some good ones.
Over there, stuck in the rhino liner. This is just a piece of the jacket of the 10 mil. It's separated when it went through that side of the truck bed and then stopped right there. The bullet, the actual lead bullet, continued on right here, and as you can see on this side, left a pretty big bulge. So now we are going to continue this science experiment of 45 ACP versus 10 millimeter. I have two red pomelo. I don't know. They look like grapefruit. They smell really good. All right, I'm going to hit the left one with the 45 and the right one with the 10 mil. Oh!
Big a boom.
Looks like 45 and 10 millimeter are both pretty good at blasting whatever those were.
Yeah.
Now let's try out some cabbages. 45 ACP on the left. Oh!
That actually didn't do as much damage as I would have expected. The cabbage held together a lot better than I thought.
10 mil on the right.
That one too. Interesting.
One more? I don't know. What do you think? Yeah? One more. Oh! think 10 mil wins that one.
Yeah.
I think I just broke my toe. Oh.
I love Scott. I love Scott. He's hilarious.
Okay. Let's switch back to another hard target.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit one cinder block with 45 and one cinder block with 10 mil. Okay. 45 ACP on the left.
He didn't. Nope, it didn't make it all the way through.
10 mil on the right.
He got a little high on that stuff to see.
Okay, our results seem pretty similar. Look inside there. There is the 45 ACP bullet. It did not make it through the other side of the cinder block.
Yeah.
And the 10 mil also did not make it through the other side.
If it. Boom.
10 mil, finish that one off. Go with the 45.
Ow. That'll do it.
Looks like when it comes to cinder blocks, the 45 and 10 mil are tied. I have, oh! So last we're gonna shoot 1 gallon of mayonnaise and I have 1 gallon of boom boom sauce. I'm gonna hit the mayonnaise with the 45 ACP. Oh!
Yeah, that would definitely kind of hurt.
Now the boom boom sauce, it's gonna get the 10 mil. Oh! My gosh!
No, hold on, Bleach. Shit. He's liquidated that thing.
I think that was a really good test. Those targets really showed the difference in energy between the 45 ACP
Yeah.
and the 10 millimeter. There is more boom boom sauce spread around than there is mayonnaise. Science!
No, don't kill the predator.
This guy just got a makeover, and honestly, I feel kind of bad that I am beating him up so quickly. So, hit all through here, and wow, none of them made it completely through the predator. That's going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a big favor and give it a like. And if you're not subscribed to Kentucky Ballistics, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure and check me out on Kentucky Customs, Kentucky Ballistics Shorts, Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links to all those can be found in the description down below, along with a link to KentuckyBallistics.com, just in case you want to pick up a shirt. And as always, my name is Scott. Thank you so much for watching Kentucky Ballistics. See you next time.
Yay! That was a great video, Scott. I love Scott's videos. And for those that you new, I'm gonna post his link here, just in case any of you wanna check out his channel. But I love Scott. Scott is great. He has got some of the, he's just got some great videos. And he just does some really great stuff. Although, the fact that he was able to fire 2 high points like that and not experience jams with either of them, now has me wondering if the other guy that was shooting the high point, was it a failure of grip? Because was he doing improper shooting? Was he letting the high point he was shooting ride up while he was firing, causing a temporary misfeed that was causing a slide lock back? Or was that just a bad weapon? It's interesting. If you go watch the video, you'll see what I mean. But it's very interesting that Scott didn't have any of those failures, which is quite, which is very interesting.